The Vortex plugin is found within the built-ins in the container plugins and the RFX folder. And this plugin works in conjunction with the RFX Smoke geometry. So we're going to drag the geometry RFX Smoke into the scene tree. We need to map an image that carries an alpha channel with it onto this. So we'll come into our flares folder here within our server. We can use any image and we can drop it onto our particle system or our container. When you do that, you notice you don't see much. So we need to go into the mapping setting of our image and change the mapping from the default linear to vertex. Once we do that, we see the particle system takes a little bit better shape here. So in order to see this a little bit better, we'll just reposition this and scale this up a bit. Now we want to go grab our plugins and we'll go back into the built-ins, into the container plugins tab and the RFX folder. We'll drag the vortex onto our container, and you can see once we do that, it creates this little vortex animation out of our particle system. So if we click on the vortex plugin and go into the properties here, the first thing that we have here is an amount. It's set to 200 by default. If we lower the amount here, it will slow and make that vortex a little bit smaller. If we increase it above the default amount, it will increase the amount of that vortex, making it spin a little bit quicker as well. Below that, there is an inertia set to 100 by default. If we increase it, it will increase the inertia of this vortex. And then if you go the other way and decrease it, you can see how it affects the shape here, and it lowers that center of gravity there. We also have a center X. So as we shift this left, it will shift the vortex left, and if we shift the center X right, or if we increase the center X, it shifts it right, and it will push that vortex over to the right side there. We also have a center Y that you can adjust, and a center Z, which will pull it back into Z space, and you can see how we can push it back there and how this particle system reacts when you adjust it. Finally, you have a rotation X, so we can rotate this vortex, and then you have a rotation Y as well. Now, big thing about these plugins is that you have your vortex settings, but if you want a completely different look within this particle system, that's all driven by the RFX plugin, and there's a separate video on that covers this in more detail. But real quick, if you did want a completely different look, what you could do is go into your server and try different images that carry alpha channels. So if you didn't want a flare-like image, you could come in and try more of a grayish image if you needed to try to achieve a cloud structure or something like that.